to all of our alumni who are watching. It's so great to be back here after a summer break of not giving Torah over the internet. It's wonderful to be back sitting here in Yerushalayim and continuing to teach Torah to you wherever you are. I wanted to take this opportunity to speak a little bit today about the concept of Slichot. We're all gearing in the mode of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and as we are advancing in the Elul month, we approach, well, at least according to the Minhag of the Ashkenazim, we approach this Motzei Shabbat, beginning, let's say, Parashat Ki Tavo, the beginning of reciting the Slichot. For those Sephardim amongst us, you started in Rosh Chodesh Elul. Elul is the month where Sephardim wish they could be Ashkenazim because of Slichot, and Pesach's the month where the Ashkenazim wish they could be Sephardim because of Kitnio. But all joking aside, let's talk a little bit about the reciting of Slichot, or Slichos. And the truth is that in the times of the Gemara, it doesn't seem to mention the concept of Slichot, saying them as we approach the Yemim Noraim. The Gemara in Megillah does discuss the idea of saying Slichot on a fast day, of needing to beseech God, to call upon God. But we don't find this idea of an organized form of Slichot, Yemim Noraim, until the Geonic time, until the period of the Geonim, where it was accustomed to say it during the ceremony of Tshuva, and later it's brought down that maybe even before Rosh Hashanah, we said Rosh Chodesh Elul, or before, or this Motzei Shabbat. And the Mishnah Berurah brings down that one should say one should begin saying Slichot, the Motzei Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, unless Rosh Hashanah is too early in the week, and then we start, like this year, we start the Motzei Shabbat, 8 or 9 days before, like we have this year. There is a suggestion that is brought down that maybe one should start saying Slichot on Kaf Hei Elul. So the question is, what happened on Kaf Hei Elul? So if Rosh Hashanah was the first day of Briat HaAdam, the day that man was created, then Kaf Hei Elul, right, backtracking 6 days before Rosh Chodesh Elul, Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, was the day that the world was created, right? The happy birthday to the world. So maybe that opinion comes to correspond with the fact that we are addressing the anniversary of the creation of the world by saying Slichot. And we are saying Slichot for anything we've done since time immemorial, since the creation of the world. And it's the Vilna Gaon who says that the reason that we do Slichot on Motzei Shabbat is because we really should do it on Kaf Hei Elul, but it would be a different day every year, and maybe that minhag would get lost. So it was instituted that we start saying it on Motzei Shabbat, so that minhag wouldn't get lost, and we should. And it's close enough to Kaf Hei Elul. It's a couple of days off every year. Some years it is exactly on time. But more or less it corresponds to Kaf Hei Elul, but we started on Motzei Shabbat because it's the closest time to the historic day of the creation of the world. So why do we say Slichot on Motzei Shabbos? What is so special on Shabbos? So maybe one idea is that on Shabbos we are more spiritually inclined. We're more spiritually in tune with ourselves, with our relationship with God, with our relationship with Avodat Hashem. So perhaps that's a good kickoff for saying Slichot. Maybe it would be challenging on a random Tuesday night to get up and start saying Slichot, but Shabbos is a time where we're in shul. Shabbos is a time where we're moved a little bit from the materialistic pulls of the world around us, from technology. So it's easier to go into saying Slichot. And Shabbos is also symbolic, as it is suggested. That is the first time that Adam Harishon did tshuva, right? We know that Adam was created on the 6th day, and then he sinned, and then he did tshuva, and it's brought down that he's the one that really composed this concept of Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat. He's the one that really had the idea of composing that Mizmor in Tehillim, that chapter in Tehillim, which praises Shabbos, because that was when he was forgiven. Shabbat, Teshuvah, the word comes together, so maybe it's symbolic of the first time that the first human did tshuva for his sins. So we're in the mode of tshuva, we're in the mode of taking a step back from the temptations of the world, we're in the mode of coming closer to God. So Motzei Shabbos is a good time for it. So the idea of Slichot is, it's really mentioned that one should say Slichot late at the night, or very early in the morning, or back in the day they would even say it, in the middle of the night, which is really not so feasible in our day today. And to understand this a little more, I want to actually talk about a Rambam in Hilchot Tefillah. Not about Slichot, but I think the Rambam may be able to give us insight as to why we start Slichot at night, the night before. What seems to be a very inconvenient time. It would seem more convenient to start Slichot, right after Shachris. You're already in the zone, you're having Shachris, you're in prayer mode, say Slichot. But rather you have to stay up late or wake up early. It doesn't really seem so conducive to what we want to accomplish. So So let's take a look at the Rambam. Take a look. I have it here. The Rambam in Hilchot Tefillah, Parak Shvi, the 7th parak, opens up the first halacha in the 7th parak by saying as follows. Kishetiknu chachamim divrei tefillot elu. When chachamim established tefillot the way we have them today, now listen very closely to the lashon he uses. Tiknu brachot acherut levrech otan b'chol yom. They established that certain brachot should be mentioned, should be recited every single day. So one would think that the next few words are going to be, what are those brachot that we say every day? Right? What are those first brachot that we say every day? Al Netilat Yadayim, Berkot HaShachar, Berkot HaTorah. Those are the words that we start off our day saying. But let's listen to what the Rambam says. Okay, I'm going to read it again. Kshetiknu chachamim divrei tefillot elu, tiknu brachot acherot levarech otan b'chol yom. There are brachot that Chazal established that one should say every single day. Sheik Elohim. These are the ones that one should say every single day, every single morning. Sheiknes adam lamitato lishon balayla. When a person goes to sleep at night, mevarech baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech hamapil chavlei shenei alinai, and he says the bracha of a mapil. Then he says Kriyat Shema, and halacha bet talks about that. Halacha, and then halacha gimel says that when you wake up, you say Elohai Neshama. Now, not that I want to challenge the Rambam, but that seems very strange. It seems very strange that only in the third halacha in that parak would the Rambam say, and when you wake up in the morning, you start with Elohai Neshama. I would think that would be the first thing that the Rambam would say, right? Chazal established you say certain brachot every day, here, there, Elohai Neshama, etc., etc. But no, the Rambam says that your halachot of the morning, your brachot of the morning begin with the night before. And perhaps what the Rambam is trying to suggest is that your day will be what it is because of the decisions that you made the night before. Meaning your day is impacted by what you were doing the night before. That it's not that your day begins when you wake up in the morning, but it's the decisions that you made, the places that you went, the people you're with, the discussions that you had. That's going to impact who you are when you wake up in the morning. So much so that when he discusses halacha, he says, you know what, Kriyat Shema, that's going to establish who you are the next morning. It's very, it's almost like a split personality type thing that we sometimes do whatever we want to do at night, and we hang out in places, or we waste our time, or we do this or we do that, and the next morning we wake up and say, okay, today I'm all about tshuva. So it's a good thing, and it's looked positively upon, obviously, but if we really want to get a head start rather, in tshuva, in a good morning, towards Avodat Hashem, and the best way to do it is to begin the night before. What you do the night before really will impact how your day looks the next day. So maybe if we can understand that concept in the Rambam, that'll help us understand maybe one insight as to why we say Slichot at night. It's always hard to get off on a good start in the morning, but we're getting even a head start to that morning. We're getting a head start the night before. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, it's like running a marathon. Right? It's a marathon of tefillah. We're in shul all day long. We're supposed to be in shul all day long. We're supposed to be davening and tefillah and kavanah. And the same way, none of us would ever run a marathon. I don't know. I would never run a marathon, period, but none of us would ever run a marathon without training and without proper exercise, without preparing ourselves. So too, one should not enter the realm of that intense mode of tefillah without preparing yourself. Slichot gives us a time to prepare ourselves. Slichot gives us that ability to get into the mode of confessing, of approaching God, of that intense and intimate relationship that one has with God. I heard the name of Moshe Weinberger from Windermere that he says that darkness usually stops us. Right? Darkness is usually when we say, oh, I gotta go, it's dark, I gotta come in, I gotta finish what I'm doing because it's dark outside. And he says that here we're breaking our habits. Right? Here we're breaking our habit. We're saying, no, dark isn't when we're gonna get up. We're gonna get up before dawn. We're gonna stay out late at night and we're gonna say Slichot. We're going to change the way things normally are. We're going to break in routine for Slichot. So it's not that Slichot was randomly established at an inconvenient time. It's that its purpose is that it breaks the norm. And maybe he suggested that that's the move we're meant to get into before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. To break that routine of I'm on a downward spiral, or to break that routine of God, if I'm doing really well, and to take a look at ourselves and say, I'm not going to be the way it usually is. I'm willing to change, I'm willing to look at things a little bit differently. Same way I'm willing to stay up late and say Slichot, so too I'm willing to look at myself a little bit differently. I'm going to push myself. Slichot is a push. It's a push to stay up late at night. It's a push to wake up in the morning. But we want to get ourselves involved or ready or training for that push of doing a little extra, doing a little bit more, doing a little bit better. I think that for us, maybe this can all tie together into what our avoda is right now. Right? Rosh Chodesh El has an avoda, El itself has an avoda, and then this time of year where we begin to say Slichot, and again, with my apologies to the Sephardim who already or totally in the into the Slichot zone. The rest of us are just being in the Slichos zone. We're just entering it right now. But if we can obviously go to shul and say Slichot, then we should be doing that. But maybe the whole idea or the meaning of Slichot is meant to suggest that what we should be doing this time of year. How should we be spending our nights? How should we be spending our evenings or early mornings? Maybe it's that time of year to put in a little bit extra at night, to put in a little bit extra early in the morning, to think, to do that cheshbon nefesh, to learn a little more, to daven a little more, to daven a little harder, to face ourselves a little more, to prepare ourselves for Rosh Hashanah. If we can't get to a minyan and we can't get to shul, and for whatever reason it's not safe to go out at night or whatever it is, we can't. It's not accessible to us. It's not within our range. Then at least let us do what Klal Yisrael is doing now. Klal Yisrael right now is waking up, is staying up late, is waking up early, and getting ready for Yom Hadin. And even if it's inconvenient for us, and even if we think I'm going to be too tired for work, for class, for whatnot, that trepidation, that nervousness, those sleepless nights are what we're meant to be feeling, what we're meant to be experiencing this time of year, right? If we had a court case, we wouldn't, sleep all day and be on vacation and not go over the different files, the different sides. We'd be nervous, we'd be preparing, we'd be thinking. Kal v'chomer when we think of what's at stake here. What's at stake personally, individually, for our families, for our communities, for the Jewish people, and for the entire world, for Eretz Yisrael. There's a lot at stake. So let's not wait till Rosh Hashanah to open that machzor. Let's start now. Let's start this Motzei Shabbos with Am Yisrael. Let's start saying Slichot. Let's get ready to break those habits of being not being totally aware, of being a little bit apathetic to what's going on around us. But if we can get into the habit of pushing ourselves and trying a little harder, and Bezrat Hashem, when we approach the Yamim Noraim, when we approach Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we will be in that zone. We'll be ready to take upon ourselves those things and those ideas. Let's get ready for Erev Rosh Hashanah by saying, now I'm ready. By now I'm going to try and break those habits so that I don't have to think about it for the first time when I'm standing in shul. Yiratzon, it should be God's will that as we get ready for to approach that final lap of marathoning before Rosh Hashanah, that we can really get ready to approach God, even if it's inconvenient for us, and to look at ourselves honestly, and to look at ourselves directly, and to say, God, you're right. We start off by saying that, right? If you're ever in an argument with someone and they try to apologize, and they say, I'm sorry, but, we're going to drop that three-letter word, that but you this, that. No, we say, God, we start off with God, you're right. We did wrong. And once we say that, once we can appease God by saying that, we can also hopefully remind ourselves that God, that God is where the justice and the righteousness are, and we've made mistakes that we have to own up to. But we should be zocha to look at ourselves honestly enough and to make those changes so that we can be privileged, that God should look down upon us and to write us and to write ourselves and our families and all those around us in the Sefer HaChaim, and we should be zocha for Ketiva V'Chatima Tova. Let's hope that we all can take these next couple weeks and really put in our all. It's great to share Torah with you again, and I look forward to sharing more Torah in the future.